Section A, getting started, defining the task, clarifying the assignment.
So you've just gotten your assignment. What's the first thing you need to do to start writing?
Fall on your knees and pray for forgiveness?
No. First you need to figure out your assignment. Your assignment is going to tell you what to write about and how to write it. That's why it's really important for you to understand your assignment inside and out.
Your assignment is like a map of where you can take your paper, and the closer you follow its directions, the better your chance of getting an A on your paper. So ask your teacher if you have any questions.
Let's go to Nathan's assignment and see what questions students in his class have. Now, if you ever want to look at Nathan's assignment more closely, just look on the insert card labeled Assignment.
Nathan's assignment asks him to write a 4 to 6 page paper due 3 weeks from today. His first step is to think back to an environment he's been to, like his home or workplace. Or he can go to a place like a park or library. And he must spend some time observing people at this place or spend time thinking back to what it was like.
Now let's go back to Nathan's assignment and look at the second step.
The second step is to consider the questions the professor listed. The questions are, how do people act there? And, do some people act differently from others? Then the professor gives an example of a place, a college party.
Next, the professor spits out some questions in relation to this hypothetical example. Let's take a look at them.
Do freshmen act differently from seniors? Do women act differently from men? Do certain men act differently from others there?
So Nathan's going to be observing how different people act in different ways at the place he chooses. Let's check out the third step.
It says he must define the social dynamics of this place by describing how people look and act. He'll have to use his own observations and analysis to describe the environment. After Nathan's taken some notes on his observations, he'll analyze why people at this place act the way they do. His professor again goes back to the college party example and lists some hypothetical questions. Like, do freshmen cower in the corner? Are seniors the center of attention? Why or why not? The professor then lists 2 general questions. Are there social rules that guide this place? Certain things you can or can't do.
Looking back at the assignment sheet, we see that Nathan will also be making an argument. He'll be taking a position on this environment. The professor gives a sample argument based on the college party example. Seniors are the most powerful people at a college party because of such and such. And then the writer would describe why he or she thinks that seniors are the most powerful people at a college party.
So let me get this straight. You want us to pick a place, watch what happens there, describe how different people act, analyze why people behave in these different ways, and then make an argument based on our descriptions and analysis of this place.
Yes!
So let's look at the last paragraph where Nathan's professor has summarized the assignment.
Nathan's going to be constructing an argument based on his observations about how and or why people interact in this specific setting. He'll support his argument with description and analysis of his environment. Notice he must also support his argument by using 3 sources. He must draw some conclusions about how and why people behave a particular way in this setting.
We'll dance these aspects of the assignment in front of you again, just to make sure you're clear. First, the assignment requires Nathan to use both description and analysis. He's going to be stating his position on the particular setting and backing it up with evidence. His evidence will be his own observations and analysis, as well as some research to back up his personal experience. Let's look at the last part of the assignment.
Nathan's teacher has bulleted a list of things his paper must have: a specific thesis statement stating his position, a clearly delineated original argument with observations and supporting evidence. He also has to have a logical organization with transition sentences, accurate citation of supporting evidence, and proper use of spelling, punctuation, and grammar.
But it's not as hard as it sounds. The bulleted list we just told you about matches the general characteristics of academic prose we talked about earlier, and these traits are important, so be sure these characteristics get shipped over to your paper. Let's go over each of these requirements on the assignment sheet.
First, a specific thesis statement stating your position.
Remember, the thesis statement is the main point you're making in your paper. You state as specifically as possible your position on the topic you're writing about. You support your position or thesis statement through your argument. The second bullet point says there must be a clearly delineated original argument with observations and supporting evidence.
For Nathan's assignment, his argument will be based on his own observations, as well as some research as supporting evidence. The third bullet on the assignment requires him to have logical organization with transition sentences. So Nathan will have to make sure that his logic is clear and that he uses transition sentences. Remember, transition sentences serve as signposts that guide your reader from one idea to the next. The last two bullets are accurate citations of supporting evidence and proper use of spelling, punctuation, and grammar.
Nathan will need to make sure he gives credit to others for their ideas and cites them correctly. He'll also need to use proper spelling, punctuation, and grammar. He can check a writer's handbook to make sure they're done right.
That's it for the requirements of the assignment. It would behoove Nathan to check his paper throughout the process of writing it to make sure he's met all this criteria. Remember, it's absolutely vital to your grade and your sanity that you understand your assignment. Next, we're going to